One thing that doesn't get enough credit here in modern Western society is doing it yourself. DIY, giver, that was a big thing in Britain. That was a big thing with hardcore in the 80s. We all talked about DIY and making it your own show. It's a healthy way to be, and it sure beats video games. Sorry, folks, but if you're an adult, you shouldn't be playing video games. You should be fixing something. Now, you combine that with the kind of prices contractors are throwing around these days to just paint a roof, and you go, I can kill a whole flock of seagulls with one stone, eh? Let's roll a tape of me fixing my roof. I look pretty good there, hey? Play it.
Hey, how's it going, eh? So I got to fix up my house here. I don't know if you can see there. That's all peeling there. I got a rough-looking porch. I got to redo all this stuff. So I call up a guy and I go, how much for that? And he goes, I don't know. I could get up there, do some of that trim there, maybe like $750. Maybe do the porch there, stain the porch $400.
How much does a surgeon make?
Plus 4 is, but that sounds like a lot. And then, you know, they say, oh, we can do it safe. We got all this equipment and stuff. I got stuff too, you know. So I got this together, right? I got a bunch of stains and some brushes, and I got some white, and I got this. Took forever to get it together. And that cost me about $130. So far I'm ahead.
Can you pause it for a sec there? I'll tell you one thing. When you decide to do it yourself, you're like a king in the hardware store because you're saving so much money. You go, I'll take your finest paintbrushes, please. $14, not an issue. Money is no object. So that's all the cream of the crop stuff that only brought me to $130.
It's 100 something. You do the math.
By the way, I got these dots on my face from a sunburn, eh? You gotta use sunscreen when you're out there. Oh, I'm not wearing sunscreen today. We don't learn our lesson up here. I gotta go and I gotta crack this this paint here, right? But I figured instead of a drop cloth, I'll just put down a towel because I'm gonna be out on this roof, and I gotta be frank with you here. I'm actually kind of scared shitless about getting up on this roof. I'm here all alone. Maybe I'll text someone and say, if I don't text you back in an hour, send the cops or the rescue squad. Now, a lot of people ask, they say, how do you go out on a roof and not fall down and fall to your death if you don't have scaffolding or whatever? You need a cherry picker? Nope. Here's a question for you, to answer your question. You ever rip an extension cord? No, they're too tough. So that's what you gotta use. Now, you don't tie it around your waist. Because if you were to fall, you'd sort of go, oh, maybe break your back. I think you want to get it up here. I've never actually done this before.
Don't try this at home, by the way.
You tie this around your chest, right? And then you tie this to you tie the other end of the toilet. Oh, that's a bit tight on my chest. You tie the other end of the toilet, and I figured you'll be good. Or maybe a doorknob? I went for the doorknob. I never ripped an umbilical cord. I never ripped an extension cord, and I never pulled a doorknob off a door. I'm trusting my life.
Two strongest things in your home are doorknobs and extension cords. Combine the two, and you got a safe little trip there. I switched out of those Vans, by the way. Those are very slippy shoes. Okay, this is where the adrenaline starts pounding. I actually got so scared. I might mention this, but I was shaking, and I thought, I'm going to faint here. And also, a roof is not designed for...
Holy crap! Can you believe there's guys that work on the CN Tower?
I said, can you believe there's guys that work on the CN Tower?
Drunk.
They must be drunk.
Can't be sober to do this.
Can't be sober to do this. I was sober doing that. But the physics of a roof is nothing to cling on to.
Break.
Oh yeah, you got to have a lot of salt and vinegar breaks.
You know what I just realized? I had the cord tied so loose that if I fell, I still would have fallen like 20, 30 feet. So it probably would have been just as bad. It would have been like being hanged. Yes, a person is hanged, a thing is hung. So now I'm making it more taut.
You'll notice the knot is getting safer. The beauty of humans is we're like monkeys.
So.
We learn as we go.
When I was scraping, I put a bunch of paint chips on the roof. So I made this giant super broom. I'm going to take that outside and brush off all the paint chips. Whoa!
If I was on the roof, that would have been the end.
Salt and vinegar break.
You need chips.
Here's an idea. I only got 2 arms, right? So I made me a little baby Bjorn for the paint. I gotta be honest here. I'm so scared that it's affecting the way I talk. I keep just repeating the word grit in my head. Grit, grit. This generation needs more grit. Be a man. Be a man.
More S and V's.
I'm on the second window now. See, you go window by
Next
window.
window.
It's quite a work. Now that ladder didn't turn out to be very helpful because it's too far away from the windows. But I just left it there. Actually left it there for a couple days. Now, you know what's interesting about us humans? We get better at things. And at this point,
Never look down.
secret is don't look down.
That applies to a lot of stuff, actually.
That applies to a lot of stuff. At this point, I wasn't even that scared anymore. And I realized washing the dirt off was just as good as painting on some of the parts. And you use a slightly off white. And it
If
doesn't
it's too wet, then it takes too long to...
it doesn't look different from the rest of it. So here I am. You guys are out playing video games. I'm saving 700 plus 400 or 300. And I'm learning about my house, how to build a house, and I'm raising my level of machismo. The guy who did the first window was a little wimp, a Timmy, as we used to call them in Ontario, based on the Jerry Lewis telethons where they'd wheel out Timmy and say, we're going to talk to Timmy, and, you know, he'd be particularly, let's say, not macho. But I just kept repeating, grit, 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 be a man, and by the time I'm doing this, I feel great.
Salt and vinegar
Enough
break.
for a salt and vinegar break.
See, here's something I can't recommend enough, eh? And I'm sorry to go in and out of the hoser accent, but I'm going in and out of the hoser philosophy. You got to do the worst jobs first. Now that I'm done that death-defying thing that was way up there, I can't really see. It's so bright out here. But now that I did the hard part, now all I have to do is paint the porch and paint the railings and stain the porch. That's like a bachelor party. That's like the Rovers there. Wasn't that a party? I'm going to get a hangover from this second part of the job because it's going to be so fun.
Can you pause it there for a second?
And
I knew a giant Polish guy who was about 10 feet tall. He was a 10-foot pole. You know, they say I wouldn't touch out the 10-foot pole. He was a 10-foot pole. And he became a Canadian citizen recently. And part of Canada is so new that I think they have trouble coming up with stuff that you have to learn. I mean, when I got my Canadian citizenship in 76 or so, 78, I had to pledge allegiance to a giant oil painting of the Queen. One of the things he had to do is learn the song Wasn't That a Party by the Rovers. Might have been the whiskey, might have been the gin, might have been a 2-4 6-pack, I don't know. So you have Indians and Eastern Europeans and Somalians all sitting in a classroom going, but look at the mess I'm in, my head is like a football, I think I'm gonna die, saying me oh, my, wasn't that a party? They kind of sing it in an American accent, those guys. Anyway, back to the home repairs.
my life isn't at stake, so I can wear something a little more sexy, you know? You want to look, you got to wear pants if you're doing a dangerous job because you don't want to be at the morgue with like your little shorts on. But now that I'm good and now if I fall, I'll fall 2 feet. I'll live. Now it's fun times, boys. Oh, by the way, that goes the same for moving. If you're going to move your house, start with the big boxes first, and then by the end, you're just carrying like a little box of CDs.
So now I get to paint the railing here. I just put on the Esmeister on the Rebel.media, and the time just flies by.
Okay, we're done, eh?
Okay, can
Have to
you
take my
pause it
clothes
here?
off.
Now, you look up deck stain at the hardware store, and they give you this crap that ends up making your deck look like someone spilled chocolate milk on it. And I go, why can't I get stain? I want it dark stained, you know, so it's almost black, and you can just sort of make out the grooves barely. They go, no, that's only for interior. Now, doesn't that sound curious to you? Because this stuff is basically like Sharpie ink, and you know if the kids write Sharpie on the deck, it's there forever. You know if a crayon melts on the deck, it's there forever. So why can't I use this stain? Well, it turns out you can. You see, I went against the hardware store's rules, and I used interior stain on the deck, and guess what? It all came off. No, it didn't come off because it's stain. Ladies and gentlemen, environmentalists, left-wing lunatics are trying to make our outdoor decks into chocolate milk because they think stain is bad for the environment. That is total and utter BS. Stain works great. Interior stain works great on exterior decks. We are being lied to. Go ahead.
Making spills and I ran out of rags. But look at that. We got the porch done. That's all painted white and stained. And then we got, we got that crazy window up there that was hard. And then look over here now. We got that porch done with that stains and that. Remember that how scary that was up there? Ooh,
Stop talking about how scary it was there, wimp.
But it's 8 o'clock and I saved a good $1,200, eh? That's how you do her. You just give her.
Pretty simple, eh, folks? I wish we could get back to that. I remember my dad, a dad in the 70s, he'd only have one pair of shoes, and they'd be dress shoes for work, and one pair of pants, and they were slacks. So your dad would be out there re-trestling, whatever you call it, the cement wall by the driveway in his slacks and his dress shoes, and maybe a V-neck sweater with no T-shirt on underneath. That's the way we did it, and it felt good. We got to get back to that. I'll tell you what, there is no beer more delicious than the beer you have after a hard day's work. You look down at your creation, the fence you built or the porch you just stained, and you go, psst, and that first sip, oh my God, it's heaven on earth.